John Keats, 1795-1821, an important figure of Romantic movement in English literature, well known for his odes, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to a Nightingale, to Autumn. Other poems, Lamia, The Eve of Saint Agnes, La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, The Beautiful Girl Without Mercy. It's a French song written in the form of a ballad. Keats wrote the poem months after his brother Tom died of tuberculosis. The story is of a knight and how he was trapped by a wicked maiden who took him to her arbor and lured him to sleep. She is aptly called La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, as she seems to be one without mercy. When he wakes up from his sleep, he finds himself all alone on a hillside. That's why he is found alone and palely loitering. There is a lot left to the reader's imagination to piece together, but the overall impression is that the maiden without mercy had influenced the knight in some way, either before or during his slumber. The poem is said to be a record of Keats' experience of love. Let's move on to the poem. First stanza. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? Oh, what can ail thee? You can see the question mark at the end of this line. So, poet is asking a question. To whom? To knight at arms, knight with shining armor. So he asks, what can ail thee? What troubles you? What's the matter? Why are you alone and palely loitering? You have pale face and you are wandering. When you say wandering, loitering means you are without any purpose. So what are you doing here? You look sad, you have pale face and you are wandering. What's the matter with you? The sedge has withered from the lake and no birds sing. The sedge, grass-like plant, this they have dried. You can see this, these plants, they have dried. Withered means to become dry or sapless or shriveled up from the lake, and no bird sing, and no bird is singing here at all. It's complete desolate place, isolated place, and there is a lot of calm here. So what are you doing here when no one is here? There are no birds and everything. The sedge grass have become dried. There is no life at all here. So what are you doing here? So this is the question posed by the poet to the knight. Next stanza. Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard, so woebegone? Again he asks same question. He say, what's the matter with you, knight at arms? You look so exhausted, unwell, and you have sad appearance. You look sad, you look depressed, you look in despair. What's the matter with you? The squirrel's granary is full and the harvest is done. Squirrel's granary, it's a squirrel. So he say they have finished storing granary for them, and the harvest done, and farmers, they have cut their harvest, they have gone home, nobody is here, and you are so sad, exhausted, you look depressed. What's the reason? What's the matter with you? Why are you here? Next, third, he say, I see a lily on thy brow. I see a lily on thy brow. Lily, it's a white and pale. It's regarded as a symbol of death. So, poet tells him that, why do you look as if you are dying? With anguish moist and fever dew, as if you have very mental and physical pain and suffering. And fever dew, as if you've got a painful fever. What's the matter with you? And on thy cheeks a fading rose, fast withered too. And on thy cheeks a fading rose. If you see rose, they are the symbol of beauty. They are fresh one. You can remember Robert Burns, my love's like red rose. But here thy cheeks are fading rose. The color of your cheeks is fading, withered like this. The rose has withered here. Next stanza. Then he answers. The knight answers, I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairy's child. So he answered to the questions posed by the poet. He says, I met a lady in the meads. Meads means this, pasture, meadow. I met a lady here somewhere. Full beautiful, she was very beautiful, a fairy's child, as if she was a kind of fairy's child. Her hair was long, she had long hair, foot was light. Foot was light, it means that she was flying, as she was a child of a fairy, so she was a kind of flying. She was hovering. And her eyes were wild, because she was not a normal child, normal girl. She was very beautiful with long hair and the light foot, and eyes were wild, eyes were sharp. Next, I made a garland for her head. When I met her, I made a garland. Garland means a wreath for her head, and bracelet too, and fragrant zone. So he made it from leaves, flowers, and stems. What did he make for the girl, for her head? A garland, bracelet, and fragrant zone. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan. And she was looking at me as if she was in love with me, and made sweet moan. And she was sighing sweetly. She was having very sweet moans, as if she was in pain. I set her on my pacing steed. Then I told her, or took her on my pacing. Pacing means trotting. Horse, yes, steed, horse. So I took her on my pacing steed, pacing horse. She sat with me, and nothing else saw all day long, and I forgot about everything. I only saw her as she was really very beautiful. For sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy song. And when she was with me, when the horse was trotting, she was looking side, left to right, and she was singing a song, a fairy's song, a very strange, melodious, pleasant song. Then he said, she found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manna dew. And in return, as she had knowledge of that area, forest, she found me some natural food that was roots of relish sweet. Relish means very sumptuous, tasty, of great enjoyment, sweet, and honey, and wild honey, and manna dew. See, manna dew is a heavenly drink, and I have written the meaning of manna dew here. The celestial food that Israelites were provided with God during their wanderings in the desert. It's their belief that Israelites, they were provided with heavenly drink, heavenly honey, when they were wandering in the desert. So she gave that kind of food, wild honey, and some roots of some sweet. She offered that to the knight, and so in language strange she said, I love thee true. And in a very strange language she told me that she loved me truly. What did she say to the knight? I love thee means you true. I love you truly. Then she took me to her elfin grot. I accompanied her to her elfin grot. Grot means cave, kind of. Now she took him to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed full sore, and there she started sighing, crying as if she was in pain. She was in great pain, and she was expressing her sadness. And then I shut her eyes, wild eyes with kisses for. Then I shut her eyes. I made her soothe her sadness. And her the wild is repeated. It's a repetition figure of speech. So there I shut her. I made her soothe her pain with kisses for. I kissed her 4 times just to relieve her from her sadness, depression, or pain. The next, and then she lulled me asleep, and then she sent me to sleep with her soothing sounds or movements. I suddenly slept there, and then I dreamt, oh, woe betide, and suddenly, oh my God, woe betide, I dreamt. There was a dream there when I went to sleep in her elfin grot. The latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hillside. And this was the latest dream which I ever dreamt on this cold hillside. Cold hillside. For the first time I had a dream. What was the dream? I saw pale kings and princes too. I saw a pale king exhausted, tired, unhappy, kings with pale faces. I saw them. I saw princes too. I saw pale warriors. Death pale were they all, as if they were on the point of death. They were dying. I saw them in my dream. I saw pale kings, princes, warriors. They were death pale, as if they were dying, and they were crying. They were crying, La Belle sans Merci, the beautiful girl without kindness or mercy. So it means that girl, that wicked maiden, she had tortured them. Tortured them. That's what they are looking death pale. Thee hath enthralled. They were saying unanimously, collectively, that that girl, she had put us in thrall. Thrall means in bondage. Bondage, yes? Or in prison. Out of her spell. Spell or magic, you can say. Then Knight says, I saw their starved lips in the gloom, with horrid warning gaped wild. I awoke and found me here on the cold hill's side. Then Knight said, I saw there means warriors and princes and kings, starved lips. They were thirsty in the gloom, in the twilight, with horrid warning gaped wide. And they had a horrid warning for me. What was the warning? Why have you come here? Why have you come here? And I awoke and found me here on the cold hill's side. When suddenly they warned me about my coming to the elfin grot with that maiden with that girl. Suddenly I got up and I found that I was here on the cold hillside. So this is the answer to the question. When in the beginning John Keats asked the knight, why are you here? So he has given the answer. So it means that he was in deep slumber. He was sleeping. It was his dream. This poem is happening in dream. The last stanza, and this is why I sojourn here. Sojourn means spend a certain length of time somewhere. So this is the reason I am spending my time here on this cold hillside. I am alone and palely loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake and no birds sing. You had asked me in the beginning that the sedge has withered, the plant dried, and there are no birds here. What was I doing here? So this is the answer. I am here because of all that which I had answered you in last stanzas. So in last one he confirms that why I'm here, because why I'm alone, why I'm pale, because this is the reason. And at last This is the end of the poem. Hope you've enjoyed this poem. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.